The game between Kirill Alekseenko and Maxim Vachier-Lagrave finished in a draw. Well, obviously, you both came very well prepared. First, Maxim, you played this g6 move, which is a new move, and Kirill was also well prepared in this position. But there were so many tactical lines that didn't happen on the board. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, first of all, against Magnus, I had played bishop f8 in the Grand Chess Tour, but I think bishop g5, queen c7, rook h4 is winning. And so, of course, after rook takes g4, there's king f8, there's rook h7, but g6 is more or less a forced draw. After rook takes g6, rook takes c3. So first of all, of course, queen takes c3 looks...
Knight a4.
Knight a4, queen b3. Here I should probably take on g6, knight e6, queen c8, and I don't think there's anything better than perpetual.
And Kirill, here after rook c3, you were thinking for like 45 minutes, almost 50 minutes. So what crossed your mind? Which line?
Actually, the only thing I knew about g6 that I should take on g6. But then Maxim played g6, and I saw that rook c3 is coming. I wasn't so sure about this rook g6. Yeah, but I knew, okay, if I don't take on g6, I'm really not sure about my position. So
yeah, it's the only idea of g4, so like either rook takes g6 or maybe knight takes e6 is an option, but...
yeah, you should take somewhere, otherwise the pawn structure is just worse.
So anyway, knight takes c6 is a principled option to play on. Knight g7, king f8, rook h6.
Yeah, this looks quite forced.
Yes,
I didn't see anything here.
Yes, here you have rook takes d6 also, which is an option, but then I was trying to remember what the computer said. And
it's not the move you want to play, then you have just 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think knight a4 was the move, but I wasn't sure. So I would have had 1 hour 40 to figure out
yeah, you had a lot of time.
Knight a4, maybe rook d2.
Rook d2, yeah, it shouldn't be worse there.
Yeah.
So, Kirill, you didn't even consider rook d6 so closely because you didn't have enough time to calculate.
Yeah, exactly. I saw rook d6, but yeah, knight a4, I don't know, should I go back with rook d2?
Yeah, no, there were also other moves, but of course, if the knight f5, king e8, knight e7, already I wasn't sure that I didn't have something. But the thing is, if I go king e8,
rook g1.
Rook g1 is strong because knight f8.
Rook g8.
Yes,
and
knight
take on f8 and queen h6. Yeah.
No, I thought because queen h6, king e7.
Rook f8.
Ah, yeah, but rook b2. I mean, I'm not worse.
Yeah, okay.
No, but I thought
bishop d1. Yeah.
Yes, rook moves somewhere. I don't know where. Like here, you threaten bishop f7. So. I mean, clearly it looks very wrong to get my pieces, to protect the king, true, but all white's pieces come to attack, and I don't have any counterplay on white's king, so it felt very wrong. And knight f6 fails, most likely to rook d6. There's still knight d7, but I...
rook d7 maybe?
Yeah, rook d7 is a move with at least a draw, and some other moves are probably playable. So really didn't feel like playing knight f6 for sure. So I just went f6, and then after bishop f4, I thought bishop d2 was also possible. To maybe try to get something into some sort of mess, but I thought knight a4 is more or less the same. Because I do threaten rook.
Yeah, knight f4 is a big threat.
Yes. And after bishop f4, yeah, I checked a bit, but rook c6 was definitely not a move I want to play. Knight a4 doesn't work. Like queen h7 is too big a threat, so.
So rook b2 is the only move.
Yeah, it feels like it. And yeah, after knight takes d1, Of course,
now-
the only question is whether white can go for the endgame, but I think there's no way that this is better for white because I have time for this, for instance. And my king is very close to the pawn, which is why I went back to e7.
Yeah, at least if king would be on c7,
Yeah.
I would definitely take on c8. But
Well, you would have no choice.
Yeah.
Also, king c7 there's no perpetual, but here, I mean,
yeah, it
if
doesn't look-
anything, I
I
mean,
can create any chances.
If anything, I could. I mean, of course, it's a draw, but if white is not careful, you can easily lose this pawn, or like if you go h4, bishop h3, h5, which is principal, bishop g2. Here, I'm not even sure you have a forced draw. I mean, no, actually, no, bishop f3, bishop e5, but. So yeah, it's obviously a draw, but definitely not more.
Well, Maxim, you said that after g6, you already knew that this is a forced draw, basically.
Well, I mean, not exactly. Like there are some ties for white, of course, but if I remember my analysis, I don't think there's more than a draw. Yeah.
I'm wondering how does it work on this high level of chess, because the position is obviously crazy, with a lot of tactics. So basically, you know that this line leads to a draw, and this knowledge comforts you, and then you find the concrete lines on the board, or do you remember everything by heart?
I try to remember the most important lines. But of course, this is one of many, many lines, so it's impossible to remember everything. And you try either. I mean, it depends. Sometimes, in some lines that are very, very important with some unusual move, you try to remember them by heart. Otherwise, maybe you try to figure out which. Some key positions. For instance, I knew about this position, so then it's easier to. You don't need to remember everything by heart.
Well, I see. Now that the tournament is already in full swing, can you estimate your form? How do you feel about your performance?
Apart from a couple of bad decisions, but they're bound to happen, I think I've been playing much better than for a while, especially in terms of, in standard classical time control. So yeah, I'm close to the lead, so I think it's a good thing. But of course, it's still only the beginning of the event, so there's no reason to rest on my laurels, and it's time to to consider about the rest of the tournament, 9 more games, and a lot at stake, considering that basically only first place matters.
Yeah, of course. Kirill, and what about you? How do you feel about your play here so far?
I feel better than in the first rounds. Now at least maybe it's the first normal game without any big mistakes.
Today, yeah?
Yeah, in all my 5 rounds. So yeah, I'm sure it's getting better. So it's okay now.
Well, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add, if my next opponents do another time thing for like 50 minutes, I'm going to have to ask the arbiters to bring some board games in the restroom. This was...
Sorry for that.
No, at least you had the reason you didn't have rook takes c3, because Sasha really had no reason for that yesterday.
Well, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.